Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Tuesday, 21st January 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Gary Griffith finds it difficult to criticize Stuart Young as successor to Rowley as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family, yes we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Political leader of the National Transformation Alliance in Trinidad and Tobago, Gary Griffith, had only praises for Minister Stuart Young following the PNM's General Council's decision over 2 weekends ago to support him as the country's next Prime Minister when Dr. Rowley steps down this year. Cindy Raghubar Singh of TV6 News reports.
When I worked with Minister Stuart Young in my capacity as the Commissioner of Police, I think the country would have seen we made a very good team. We were able to handle COVID, we were able to handle security, and he provided me with the support, the leadership, organizing meetings. So I have seen him work in his capacity as a leader, and it is difficult for me to criticize him on it.
Responding to TV6 at a news conference held at the NTA's San Fernando office on Monday, Griffith said his confidence in Young's leadership capabilities does not suggest the prospect of an alliance between his and the ruling party.
The PNM has always been one to go alone, so this is not the NTA in any form or fashion having any intention to say that we intend or would like to work with the PNM. It is not on the table. The PNM is a very powerful party, very respected.
He says one issue he continues to find distasteful is certain individuals and entities trying to taint the minister by associating him with the drug charge of a woman a few years ago. What these attacks do, Griffith says, is also to negatively impact a woman who happens to be a relative of his.
She was arrested by myself, and they continue to demonize that young lady, to refer to her as the stepdaughter of the future Prime Minister. To try to go out of their way to destroy one man, you're destroying the life of another girl because she made a mistake. Well, let me clarify. That girl is my cousin. So demonize me. And I have no qualms to state that, yes, she is my family. She is a Daniel, and my mother was a Daniel. And so what?
The NTA hopes to contest all 41 seats in this year's general election. So far, the party has announced 7 candidates. Asked about NTA's intention to join hands with other parties like the COP and Hope, Griffith says for now, they are being very cautious about such a decision.
An alliance of bodies, if we have the same vision, the same principles, the same ideologies, we will work together. We are just very cautious because I was aware that a political leader was meeting with someone else for weeks before that person was recently appointed as a newly a political leader of another party. And you see that marriage of convenience. You want to use the parties, bring them in, say they're working with us to get the floating voters to vote for your candidates in the marginal seats to have a 21-seat UNC government, and then spit us out, and then we'll have no participation, no involvement. That can't happen.
Cindy Raghubar Singh, TV6 News.
The new design for Trinidad and Tobago's coat of arms has been unveiled. The steel pan now replaces Christopher Columbus's ship on the coat of arms. TTT News has more.
The amended coat of arms will feature a gold steel pan and its iconic pan sticks. Citizens may use the existing design until January 1st, 2026, or a later date prescribed by the minister. The House of Representatives unanimously passed the National Emblems of Trinidad and Tobago Regulation Amendment Bill 2025 on Monday, January 13th. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley underscored the importance of the change, emphasizing emphasizing the role of symbolism in shaping national identity. He added that this symbol represents the pride and innovation of the nation. The bill will now be debated in the Senate. Once passed and proclaimed by the president, it will become law.
Harvard University in the United States is to provide further assistance to Antigua and Barbuda as part of reparatory justice. Harvard Law School was set up with a major endowment from a plantation owner who enslaved Africans in Antigua centuries ago. ABS's Shanakisha Francis reports.
Cabinet held discussions regarding the visit of 3 Harvard University officials who met with Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown on Tuesday, 14th January. A key aspect of the partnership stems from Harvard's historical connection to Antigua, dating back to the legacy of Isaac Royale, an Antiguan slave master whose wealth derived from his plantation's contribution to the establishment of Harvard's law school. Harvard has pledged significant resources to the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus, aimed at conducting research to trace the descendants of enslaved Antiguans forcibly relocated to Massachusetts between 1670 and 1810. Chief of Staff in the Prime Minister's office, Ambassador Lionel Hurst, provided an update during Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing.
They're helping the university because the university already has this in mind, so they're not taking over anything. But they want it to be more technologically oriented. And we're going to see that happening at the University of the West Indies at Five Islands. And Harvard University is going to expend millions of dollars to help to make this possible.
This initiative is viewed as a form of reparative justice. The government insists the university's contribution must be proportionate to the historical harm caused. In addition to historical research, the partnership will also address pressing health issues.
Harvard University also operates hospitals, and so their focus upon research in in non-communicable diseases, NCDs, is very important to Antigua and Barbuda, and so they'll be doing some of this in Antigua and Barbuda.
Ambassador Hurst indicates the collaboration will bolster research in this area and enhance healthcare provision. Shanakisha Francis, ABS News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis, opens the 2025 Bahamas Business Outlook Forum. Corville Pyfrom of ZNS News was there and reports.
The Prime Minister's first address before the business community for the year centered on recovery and priorities. Returning to familiar territory at the 34th Annual Bahamas Business Outlook, Mr. Davis announced plans to tackle long-standing issues that have boxed out businesses, overburdened consumers, and stifled progress.
This is a multi-generational legacy issue for us. Too much of our economy has historically been controlled by a small group of our society, and our economic framework serves the interests of a few at the expense of the many.
Promoting competition and giving greater decision-making ability to consumers, another priority outlined in the Prime Minister's address.
Through a new price comparison app, consumers will have the power to find the best price for any item and make informed decisions.
Mr. Davis is sharing concerns from entrepreneurs, particularly about the ease or lack thereof of accessing services.
It takes too long to open up a business. It takes too long to access government services. And let's face it, it takes too long even to open a bank account. I've heard the stories from entrepreneurs who have been caught in these delays. What we see here is not just inefficiency. It's a barrier to progress. And I'll tell you now, it just cannot continue.
His administration, he says, is now focused on transforming the country into a knowledge-based economy, noting this will take time and determination. He also reminded business leaders of their responsibility to work with the government and to give back to the country. But most importantly, Prime Minister Davis stressing the power of education.
No government can build a prosperous nation alone. Building the future we envision requires partnership a partnership between government, business, and the Bahamian people. This is not about one administration or one sector carrying the weight.
Mr. Davis telling the business community that in order for the Bahamian economy to thrive, Bahamian men and women must be players in its success and not just spectators. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pfeiffer.
Venezuela's Maduro says, "See you in battle" to Colombians calling for Venezuela's invasion. Two former Colombian presidents, Alvaro Uribe and Ivan Duque, have called for a military intervention in Venezuela to remove President Nicolas Maduro. More in this first post-America news item.
The two Colombian leaders also urged the current president, Gustavo Petro, to prepare for operations against the neighboring country. While addressing Colombians and fellow party members, the former presidents accused Maduro of stealing the July 2024 presidential election. Now, notably, Maduro's third consecutive election win remains contentious to this day, with several nations, including the United States, refusing to accept the results. Now, Maduro was sworn in for a third term just last week. However, Washington and allies believe that Edmundo Gonzalez is the true winner of the presidential race. Meanwhile, this is the first time that prominent leaders from South America are actively calling for action against Venezuela. The former Colombian presidents called for the military intervention while speaking in a city that borders Venezuela. And now Maduro has shot back at the Colombian presidents and challenged them to lead the war against Venezuela if they are men of their word. Venezuela's army chief has also issued a warning to Colombia's army as tensions between the two nations escalate drastically.
Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana.
In the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, whoever attacks one of its members attacks the whole, and we will act as one. This aggression will only further strengthen our cohesion and absolute unity in demanding respect for our leaders and hierarchical superiors.
Del Departamento del Tesoro de los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica.
Now, Maduro has ordered his military to prepare for a possible standoff along the border with Colombia. And he's also threatened to launch a joint military response from Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua if Colombian leadership carried out an invasion.
Este juramento de reconocimiento y lealtad absoluta.
You know that I have been your commander-in-chief during these years of struggle for our homeland's right to be free and independent. You know that I am the constitutional president, and that I have the powers given by the people to face all circumstances, present and future. I am not here as a puppet, a coward, serving imperial interests. I am not of the oligarchy, nor do I obey orders from imperialism. I am Nicolas Maduro Moros, a man of the people, humble, the constitutional president, ratified, sworn in, and commander-in-chief of the Bolivarian National Force.
No estoy aquí como un pelele, un cobarde.
Meanwhile, Maduro has ordered his military to remain on maximum alert as tensions rise rapidly with Colombia, with opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez promising to return to Venezuela and Colombia now calling for an international intervention. Maduro is staring at the biggest challenge to his power in nearly a decade.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.